So let's have a look at this. Oops. Hello and welcome to another of my army showcase videos. This is my Minotaurs army and I've been working on it for a long time. Several years in fact, possibly, I don't know, 5 years. I've been doing other projects in that time, but this has certainly taken me a long time to do. It's quite a big army, as you can see. And it features sort of different components. So you've got the Minotaurs themselves, and over on the left you can see an Imperial Knight, and in the distance you can see another Knight who is part of a Adeptus Custodes faction. So just a few of those, and that's because the Minotaurs have close links with the High Lords of Terror, and therefore they will sometimes, fight alongside the Custodes. The Minotaurs are known for having a lot of old, archaic equipment, rare equipment that other chapters might have less or more limited access to. So that's why I've got lots of different marks of armour, different machinery. So I've got a Land Raider Crusader, a Land Raider Spartan, a Thunderhawk, Leviathan Dreadnought, and the infantry. We've got like Cataphractii Terminators, regular Terminators as you might call them, and lots of different marks of armour among the power armoured soldiers. So some other notable things about the army. So I used the classic brass and red scheme, leaning more into the brass than the red. I know some people prefer to have a lot more red. I decided to go with sort of more limited red on the models. And the spot colour is this kind of glowing bluish green, which signifies the power weapons. You'll see a lot of that, and that is because this army is the first company of the Minotaurs. Now, I say that I've not adhered to sort of the names. I haven't got I've looked up who the named captain of the first company is and all that sort of thing. I'm not trying to do that, tie it deeply to the lore like that. It's just a generic first company who happen to be the Minotaurs, but paying attention to the way that Minotaurs look and that kind of thing. And I like to make my power weapons glow, as you'll see in some of my other videos. That's why they've got this blue-green glow, which was done by painting a fade from blue to white with a green shade over the top. And clearly the thing that stands out is this wonderful Thunderhawk that dominates the army. That is clearly the centerpiece of the army and the thing that took the longest to build and paint. As any of my friends will attest, I've been talking about this model for years now, and they've been wondering if I'm ever going to finish it. Well, here it is. And we'll look at that in more close detail during the course of the video. I'd like to start by looking at the vehicles of the Minotaurs. There are 5 tanks. We've got 3 Land Raiders, a Predator and a Razorback. And something that is, I think, interesting compared to my other armies that I've done is the way that I've painted them. So I generally go for a sort of fresh out of the factory mint condition look to my vehicles. No, maybe a little bit of dirt on the tracks, but not really any corrosion or anything like that. Whereas in this army, I've tried to really ramp up the grime and the corrosion and the wear and tear on the vehicles. So this is a good example of that. This is one of the Minotaurs, the Land Raiders. And if you look closely, you can see lots of mud, but also bits of corrosion and rust to really give it that kind of ancient look. And that was kind of partly inspired by the idea that the Minotaurs have all this ancient weaponry. It's been around a long time, and maybe it's difficult to keep it in good condition. My Land Raiders have these little artworks on the side, which I printed out onto a water slide transfer and applied them to the tank. So it's like the idea is that, you know, someone has done a really nice painting on the side of the vehicle to inspire the troops. This is one of the newer kits in the army. This is one of the new plastic Spartan tanks. It's got a lot of the vehicles have these 3D printed Minotaurs symbols on the side. And of course here is the Predator. The Razorback. This was a gift from a friend, and I converted it up a little bit. So it's got a little like command radar dish on the top, various accessories, and so on. This is the Land Raider Crusader. This is actually a model I've had for a really long time. It's one of the original Land Raider Crusader models with the metal sponsons and metal auxiliary guns, essentially a metal conversion kit for the plastic Land Raider. And for years I struggled to complete this model and turn it into something that I could be proud of, because the parts keep falling off. In particular, the hurricane bolters on the side were just really, really difficult to get to stay together and stay attached to the vehicle. In the end, I came up with a solution, or rather my partner came up with a solution, which was to design and print, 3D print the sponsons, and that's what she's done. She's done a really, really fabulous job of creating these, taking measurements and getting it to fit and so on. I believe the actual bolters themselves come from another designer. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, but my partner created these. Now, if you want to see more of her work, her name is Artest Designs. You can find her on My Mini Factory, where she sells various kind of tank designs, scenery and so on, and all of her own work. So this is sort of in conjunction with someone else's work, inspired by someone else's work, but she does her own designs of tanks and vehicles and things. And yeah, that was the perfect solution, really, and finally allowed me to bring the vehicle to life. I'd now like to look at the Custodes part of the army. There are just a small number of them. We have a shield captain, a squad of Custodes, what they call custodian guard, and a Galatus dreadnought, along with this converted Imperial Knight. I guess I'll show you the Knight first, which will, I think I'll move the camera rather than move the Knight. So I feel like I did a really good job of on this Knight. It has some additional 3D printed parts, so new pauldrons and the bird-shaped head, and I'm really proud of the paint job that I did on this. I've got some really nice smooth reds and very shiny golds. The Custodes are really good too. So this is the shield captain. And then here's an example of one of the Custodes. I tried to do their weapons in a different style to the Minotaurs, with this sort of lightning design, just to give a different vibe. And then, of course, the dreadnought. As mentioned previously, the army is the first company of the Minotaurs, and this means there are lots of, well, everyone's a veteran, and we have lots of Terminator armour. So in particular, we've got some Cataphractii Terminator armour. These are some custom bits on the top to give them this sort of Spartan look. The captain of this Terminator squad is the sergeant is this captain model. Then we have these regular Terminators. Most of them have at least one Minotaurs themed pauldron. It's kind of got some cool lightning claws. The storm shields have been replaced with these 3D printed designs with a Minotaur on them. Some of the models are Vanguard veterans, as you can see here. So here's the sergeant. So all of the characters have names from the name generator, the fantasy name generator, to generate classic Greek names, ancient Greek names. I do love Vanguard veterans. Very explosive, very dangerous. I enjoyed painting a variety of skin tones, including some who are designed to look like, they've never seen the sun. They spent their life inside a spaceship and inside a helmet, so they don't really have a tan as such. No, I'll cup it up. I really like these lances, which are really annoying because they're quite fragile and quite a lot of them broke. You can see some Blood Angels armour on this one. I like that because that again gave them this kind of Spartan feel to me. I like this one in particular, with the combination of his helmet, lance, and then the shield. I think this is the epitome of what a Minotaur looks like to a lot of people, I think. I didn't use the same helmet and shield, etc. on all the models because I wanted variety, but I certainly used it on a few of them to good effect. We also have some Stern Guard veterans in the army. You can't see them from there, but they form the heavy weaponry of the army. So rather than have Devastator squads, I've gone for Stern Guard veteran squads who are allowed to carry heavy weapons. They don't carry 4 heavy weapons, they only carry 2, but still, I think they're a lot of fun. Particularly like this sergeant with his master-crafted plasma pistol. We've got some other Vanguard veterans who don't have jump packs. They ride around in the Razorback. This guy you might recognise as an Imperial Fist character that's been converted. Got some metal veteran models. It's rather cool conversion. With his cloak. You've got to have a fancy cape if you're a character. And then we have the Bike Command Squad. I do love these classic bike models, so I thought I'd better have a squad of them in the army, so they're a command squad on bikes. Now this is a good example. Unfortunately, this fellow was supposed to have a lance. The lance broke. I put another one on. That one broke. Mostly due to my clumsiness while painting. So in the end, I went for a sword. I was fed up of replacing the lance. But there is a model who has a lance, which is this one here. I mean, the idea of bikers with lances is fantastic, isn't it? And then the sergeant I like particularly because he's got a shield on the back of his bike. And here we have the commanders of the first company of the Minotaurs. The army is led by Captain Antenor. I like this model. Some of them have words written on in Greek. So on his cloak it says Thanatos, which means death. I mean, what else would a Space Marine have written on their cloak, eh? And we have various chaplains. This is Pleiades. Thyrsis has a Minotaur skull for a mask. Nicanor. They are followed by a command squad. There's a 3D printed banner. I like this model with their double chain swords. She's a master of executions. Got a sort of fellow with a communicator. All specs. And finally we have two librarians. There's also an honour guard who support the company champion. So this is the company champion, Yenessa. Big model with a huge helmet. One of the honour guard. Is definitely got running poses. They are sort of, you know, launch themselves into close combat as quickly as they can. While we're here, we shall look at the Leviathan Dreadnought. So this is the original Forge World resin Dreadnought. So over here we have a couple of independent characters. So this guy kind of flies around the battlefield, hunting down characters or other important targets and blasting them away with his dual plasma pistols. And this is Chelisarata, who is an assassin, an operative. She doesn't really operate on the battlefield, but rather kind of scouts out information ahead of the battle and provides intelligence for Captain Antenor. Now we're going to look at the airborne section of the army. We'll come on to the Thunderhawk, but we'll start with the Stormhawk Interceptor, which is its escort, and it's a fairly normal Stormhawk model, just with the addition of these Minotaur emblems, and that's what its base looks like. So here's the Thunderhawk. I mean, this is such a cool model, isn't it? I'll start looking at the base. So you may know that Thunderhawks don't come with a base as standard, so you have to build them. This is a Perspex rod, which is screwed to a piece of MDF, and then there's a 2 kilogram dumbbell weight sitting on top of that, which is then covered in cork, which I then painted. And then I've added these two characters on the top, who are sort of like, they're sort of like flight crew or whatever who are bringing the aircraft down to land. So they're magnetized to the base, and you can take them off and use them. Mainly it's just for storage, so that they don't get broken off or whatever. Storing this thing is not easy. But looking at the Thunderhawk itself, and this has taken me years, and I'm so glad that it's finally finished, and it looks fantastic. I've got some magnetized parts on it, so there's a magnetized front hatch. Same goes for the canopy. See the crew inside there. And a magnet as well for the big gun on the top. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, that's magnetized in place. I'm not a big fan of magnets, but it seemed appropriate for these particular things on this army, on this model. And we've got some forge weld doors there. Oh yeah, these are magnetized as well, these missiles, which is just so that you can take them off during battle. So I'll just show you some of the rest of the model. See the wings, engines, the attack spoilers, the gun. I love this model so much. I mean, I dreamt of having this for years. It took a long time to paint. It took a long time to build, frankly, and it took a lot of coats of this brass paint, which is a Vallejo colour, all done by hand. I don't own an airbrush, so none of this is airbrushed. It's all done by hand. One of the hardest things actually was just trying to hold the model while you paint it, especially painting underneath and without, turning it over without damaging the top parts of the model. So that's one of the reasons as well why it takes a long time, because you do that for about half an hour and then your arm starts to ache from holding this really heavy model, so you have to sort of put it down and start working on something else for a while. So and it's just a really daunting model. If you've got one of these, you'll know how hard it is to decide what to do and to kind of summon up the courage to actually paint it, because most of us are only ever going to own one of these in our lifetime, so you want to make sure you get it right. And but I feel I did, and it looks really nice with the rest of the Minotaurs army, as you can see from this wide shot. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching this video of my Minotaurs army. I hope you enjoyed it. Do check out the link below to Artest Designs, and happy wargaming!